Hello everybody, this is Johnny S with another vlog. This is going to be, I know it has nothing to do with R6 again. We're going to talk about cigars. So this is something that I had in mind to do for quite some time. I wasn't sure whether I will do it or not. I am into smoking cigars. I've been into smoking cigars for many years, but I kind of never got into the knowledge behind cigars, knowing about cigars, what cigars represent. It was something that I really enjoyed the smell of them. I had an uncle in Australia that smoked a lot of cigars, and because I liked the smell of it, you know, as a young kid I had gotten a cigar and I had tried to smoke it. Obviously I had no idea how to do it. I used to also drag the air of the cigar, which you never do. That made me sick many times. It was a hilarious process, but even though I did not know how to do it and I did not know how to smoke it, it was not a social thing like I used to do it in my room, like hiding from my parents, but I loved the smell, so I used to light it up and I used to smoke it. A hilarious thing to mention here is that one of the places that I used to hide it, I had like a folder for school, and there was like a binder folder, and I used to slip it inside with the round metal things on the folder. Now the weird thing was that my mom, when I took my books out of the bag, sometimes in the room she smelled that weird thing, but because she wasn't very familiar with what the cigar smells like, she used to say like, it smells like someone is smoking. Can you smell that? No, I don't know what you're talking about. Until she found out, and I got a good belting. So back in those days, you know, whenever we did something wrong, our parents used to smack us around. And now these days, there's no smacking around. So I don't know if I'm going to light up a cigar. I have got in mind to show a couple of things, and lately I have gotten into more of the cigar, let's say. I know the background might be weird, you see me like a dark guy inside of nowhere. I don't have a professional studio, so what I try to do is I try to put local light, enough to light me up and not see a lot of the background because I'm just in my room. I don't know if I'm going to light up. I just wanted to share some information. I have gotten to a stage where a lot of things that I've read and a lot of things that I've tried, and from different cigars that I smoked, some are more on the expensive side, some on the economic side, they are starting to make sense. And based on the knowledge that I have, I am able now to actually, you know, properly enjoy a cigar. I'm not a social cigar smoker, so I haven't gone to any lounges, let's say, or any things like that. It's just on my room, usually at night time, usually when I want to watch a movie. I will get a drink, usually some Scotch whiskey with like some honey or something like that, and I will have the smoke. There's different type of smoking times, let's say. Some people like to have the smoke a cigar in the morning with a coffee. There are specific cigars which bring specific tastes which actually accommodate the coffee much more. Usually they're more on the mild side, let's say. They're much shorter cigars, so the length of the cigar also plays a role. If you're going to do the whole cigar and you're in the morning, you don't have a lot of time, you might want to do a short one. Another thing that I do is, because of money, obviously, sometimes when I don't want to do any more with the cigar, so let's say I watch a movie at night time, I do it, but then at some point, you know, I had enough. Usually I leave it, it goes out, and the next day I cut off the front part of it and I continue it. So, you know, it is not the best, let's say, thing to do, to smoke a cigar multiple times, let's say, but I might smoke a cigar, let's say, in 3 sessions rather than one. So I might do one third, another third, and the last third. And that's because of the money wise, mostly it's because of the money. I mean, they are expensive. The ones that I prefer are not so expensive, but nevertheless, cigar smoking is expensive. You know what I mean? When you're looking at 3-4 euros, you know, 3-4 bucks, sorry, euros, per sort of smoke, let's say, per cigar, then it's expensive. You cannot have like 2-3 cigars in a day, otherwise your budget is gonna go overboard. But there are some, like, you know, more financial, comfortable, let's say, people which to have cigars in the morning, in the night, in the evening, in the lounges and everything. I'm gonna discuss a little bit about cigars, explain why cigars, and I'll showcase a couple of things. I'll try to keep the video as short as possible so I don't take too much of your time, but there is a lot of information to pack for anybody that is interested to get into cigars. So, first of all, I'm going to come off the bat and explain the difference. Cigars are not smokes, okay? Cigars, you're meant to puff on them, you're meant to enjoy the smoke in your mouth, you don't inhale the smoke. You do get a shot of nicotine, let's say, in your mouth. Cigars can make you sick. It is recommended to have eaten something before you have a cigar, because the nicotine in your blood can actually make you sick, make you feel sick. You might go pale in color, and if that does happen to you, what is recommended is to have a little bit of sugar, whether it's a little pack of sugar, put it in your water, drink it in your mouth, drink it with water. Some people like to have a little bit of a chocolate on the side that actually brings the nicotine down as well. So sugar levels are your sugar level, which nicotine does affect it. And that's one of the reasons why you don't inhale it. To tell you the truth, if I have a cigar, it does not mean that I don't have the need for the smoke. You know what I mean? So I might have a cigar, I might watch a movie, something relaxed, then I'll go in the balcony and have my smoke. So you cannot compare one with the other. And it doesn't mean that if you're an anti-smoker, that you cannot enjoy a cigar, because it's not smoking. Okay, smoking is a different process. What I'm doing now, you're inhaling the smoke, that's your nicotine that you're getting, and you're not going to get that feeling from the cigar. The cigar is not going to quench, let's say, your addiction on the smoke. Obviously, I'm not recommending any of this. I'm not advocating for you to get hooked on smoking. We're going to talk about cigars, and because cigars, like I said, is something more. It's like a whole procedure. Let's say you don't have to get addicted to cigars. You know what I mean? It's much more hard to get addicted to cigars. Let's say because of that reason, that you're not inhaling the smoke all the way, and if you're going to have one every 2-3 days, every time you watch a movie, you cannot really say that you're going to get addicted. So, why cigars, and what is a cigar, and what's the difference between cigars and smoke? Smoke, you light it up, it's something quick, you do it and you be done. Cigar, you gotta take your time. So that's the one point that I want to get across. Cigars are meant so you take your time. The way cigars are made, the way that they are rolled, it's a hectic process. I'm not going to go into a lot of details, but there's 3 different type of, let's say, tobacco leaves which are used. There's the inner component, the outer component, the wrapping component, and there's the final component, the outside. There's one leaf which is used on the outside. The way that they are done by hand. Not all cigars, some smaller cigars, much cheaper, are machine made, but we're talking about handmade cigars now. So the amount of time that it takes to make a cigar is quite a bit. The amount of, let's say, art which is required to go into making a cigar is quite a bit, and therefore the amount of time that you need to take to smoke a cigar is equivalent. You know, you cannot rush the cigar like you do a smoke. On the smoke, for example, you light it up, you have a couple of puffs, you might do it on your way to work, I might do it on my bike, I might do it all over the place. You know what I mean? Cigar is not like that. You gotta dedicate your time. And because of the specific way of smoking a cigar, I'll explain about it, how to go about it. You have to have a little bit of time. So a cigar, if you have to keep it in your mind, you have to associate with taking your time. You have to associate a specific time. Because in our age everything is fast-paced, fast-moving, everyone is busy with the work, with the children, with the responsibilities, it is good to take a little bit of time for yourself. That might be 1 hour, 2 hours. Once the kids go to bed, just relax. Say, I'm going to watch a movie, I'm going to watch a documentary, I'm going to watch whatever I'm going to watch. I'm going to sit on the balcony, I'm going to enjoy the view. I'm going to do whatever it is that you want to do. And I'm going to take that time to have a nice drink. What type of drink? This type of drink, a whiskey, a cocktail, whatever. And I'm going to have my smoke. You can do it with your wife, you can do it with a friend if you want, if you have someone nearby, or you can do it by yourself and just relax. You want to read a book, whatever. But it is a time process, you know what I mean? That's what I want to get across, and why it's so different smoking cigars. That's what's appealing to people that do cigars. So we mentioned a little bit about cigars, a little bit about the different type of cigars and where they are meant to be smoked at different types of days. There's different qualities of cigars. There's Cuban cigars, there's expensive cigars, there's cheap cigars. The cigars that I'm preferring due to budget, not that I have not tried expensive cigars, but more on an ongoing process. I cannot afford to have expensive, like $10, 10 euro, let's say 12 euro cigars. I mean, that's way too expensive. So I'm looking usually on the range between 3 and 5 euro cigars, sometimes cheaper, just to try them out. But that's around where, you know, when you're looking. There's a specific way on smoking the cigar. So usually when you, like I said, when you have a little bit of time, you cool down, you say that I've got 1 hour, 2 hours ahead of me, I'm going to dedicate it to myself, just relax a little bit, have your cigar. Usually it's good not to be a windy area, so you have to think about, you know, your environment as well. If there's a lot of wind around, the cigar is not going to burn properly, and there's a specific way of burning the cigar and smoking the cigar. Like I said, because I'm no expert, I don't pretend to be like a super duper you know, guy with the cigars. It is only lately that I've really gotten into more hectic of the whole, how can I say, artistry behind the cigars. I had them in the past, I had them when I was young, I got a built-in because I had them when I was young. I did have them at later stages of my life as well. It has happened to me that I've been in part of social occasions, a wedding and everything, and somebody pulled out, you know, we went to the bar, somebody pulled out a couple of cigars and handed it around, we had them. So there have been many times that I smoked cigars, but never looked into it, researched it, and that's why I wanted to do the video, because now I think I've got enough information to share with everybody else. So I'm going to start a little bit about some of the accessories of the cigars. So obviously you need a lighter like this one here that I'm using now. This is for my normal smoking. So you have a look at this lighter. It's got just the normal heat. It's an anti-flame lighter, and it lights up, you know. You can light your smokes with this lighter. You can light your cigars with the normal flame lighters. But usually, what you want is a lighter such as this. This can be bought like just from the, you know, just from any store around, and I have a flame like that. I don't know if it can be seen, but it's a long flame. You light your cigar from a distance as such. You warm it up and you light it up, and this is why you want this type of cigar. There's other ones with 2 flames, 3 flames. There's different type of them. I do not go too crazy. I recommend, you know, any one of these. I've got a couple of different ones. There's another one here, again similar thing, the long flame, if it can be seen. I've got 2 of these ones. These are usually the ones that I use. I don't recommend using these ones, like I said before. These have very low flame, similar to this one again. These ones you will use them to smoke normal cigars. And lately I've also found a Zippo lighter as such, but with a flame. So I don't know if it can be seen. I'll show on the camera like that. This is a Zippo lighter, so if it can be seen, it's a Zippo. It fills up by gas. It's got the mechanism of the Zippo. It's an original Zippo, but if you look at it at the top, it's got that weird thing where the flame comes out. So that's another, you know, if you want to go Zippo wise, you can get one of these also. Some other accessories, obviously you need a separate ashtray. So the ashtray that I'm using for my smokes is this one here. Because these have very tiny holes, you cannot rest a cigar. So what you will need is an ashtray as such. So this is a proper ashtray for your cigar. So let's take a cigar out just to show you, since we're talking about it. So once you light up your cigar, this is one of the cigars that I really like. It's on the cheap side, Reposados. You light up your cigar, and once you leave it as such. You leave it as such, and like I said, I've got a different ashtray because me smoking cigars doesn't mean that I don't smoke smokes. You know what I mean? Or you cannot say that instead of me having a smoke, I'm gonna have a cigar. No, cigar is a different thing. in the sense that I might have the ashtray of the cigar, that I might have done half of the cigar, I leave it on the side, I might have a smoke, I might do something else, and then I'm in the mirror again to relax a little bit, I'll have the cigar as well. You know what I mean? So it's a totally different, let's say, thing. In order for you to cut the cigar, you will need some cutters, such as this. Basically, you put the cigar through, and you cut it on the back side. So this is the cigar, this is the front of it, and this is the back of it. There's like a curved, let's say, place. You place this here, and you chop the end off. There's different type of cutters. I'm only using these simple ones. There's some punch hole cutters where you place it and you make like a little hole. There's some V cutters that you use. This one and a V cutter with one cut is the same thing. It creates a relatively large surface in order for you to drag. The punch hole is much smaller and I don't like it. And the V cutters, where they do two of them, like a cross section, that to me is too much. It's too large, some of the pieces go out and I don't enjoy it. So usually what I do is this or the V cutter, one cut only. Another thing that you might need is a humiditor. I do have a humiditor. You don't have to go crazy, it's on the cheap side. And just to mention the prices, the lighters that I'm talking about €3-4 each lighter, nothing much more. This one here is on the €30, the Zippo. Okay, fair enough. So some of the metallic ones, the more fancy ones, are a little bit, a little bit more crazy. This one here we're talking about, €10-20 ashtray. You can find cheaper ones, you can find more expensive ones, and so forth. The cigar, like I mentioned, is on the around €4. This one, Reposado. This cutter here is around €8. The humiditor that I have at the moment is this one here. So this is the box of the humiditor. It's got a humidity indicator at the front. It's a cheap box. We're talking about 30 sort of euro. Nothing, super special, let's say. It's got a glass cover. Let me just open to show you. And these are a couple of cigars I have inside. So there's a couple of cigars that I have. I've got a couple of humidifiers and a humidifying stone. These are the different cigars that I've got. Some are small, some are big. The humidifiers that you put inside your humidifier is in order to keep the humidification on a specific range. The ones that I'm using are these ones here. They're called Boveda. Basically, you tear up this plastic thing, you drop it in, and on top of them there's an indication of how much humidification you need. Usually you try to aim for around 70% humidification, and once the humidity, you get the gauge at the front to show around 70, then you're good. You can go anywhere between 64, let's say, and 76 something. But I'll say 70 just to keep it, on my preference. I tend to go a little bit lower. I like the drier, let's say, feel of the smoke rather than the more humid. You have to be on a specific range, and the difference is that if you're way too dry, then all the flavor and everything goes away from the cigar. If you're too much on the humidity, then you're not going to be able to drag the smoke out of the cigar. It's going to be very difficult for you, and you're going to hurt your jaw. You have to be around this range. Personally, what I prefer is around 62. 62 humidity for me is, I think, the best one. It's enough to have all the flavors. It's not too dry, but I don't like when it starts getting more humidity. There's another one tool that I don't have, which is called the draw tool. And basically, sometimes when you get a cigar, if it's been the way that it's packed, there might be some hard components on the leaf. And in order for you might need to be able to create a better draw. A draw is basically when you put it in your mouth and you draw the airflow. There is a long thing, it's like a needle, like an icebreaker, like a needle, but it's got some wedges. So when you put it inside and you pull it, it's going to create an extra draw. I don't have that tool. I want to get it, but I was not able to find it so far. So this is a little bit about the accessories, how to store them. There's different things, and you can go into more detail. There's better humidifier boxes. The wood plays a huge role. The one that I've got is just a cheap one. It is wood. It's not like a paper mache, let's say, thing. It is proper wood, but it's on the cheap side. There's other ones which are more airtight, better ones. There's other ones that instead of a glass, they have a humidifier inside them. There's a lot of different things. So usually when I did with my box, when I got it, I kind of dumped it, I cleaned it out with a damp cloth, I let it outside for 1 day so that the wood dries up. I got a big humidifier and I put it in, which was like around 80% humidification. I left it in there for 1 day just to, you know, buff up, let's say, the humidity on the humidor. Then I took that out, I dropped my cigars in, and I put it 62. These ones here particularly are 62%. Some people will say this is for aging cigars, but like I said, because I like to smoke them much more dry, I use this. And like I said, as long as you follow those guidelines, you cannot go wrong. Now, as far as how to light a smoke, okay, we might need to actually light a cigar because I'm not going to be able to show you otherwise. So, this is the Reposado. This is a good brand that I like on the cheap side. It's around €4, let's say, euro. The cigar should be around properly humidified. It's got a nice smell to it. Don't expect something amazing, super duper. Like I said, we don't have the budget to go crazily extreme. What I'm going to do now is I'm gonna chop off the end, and I'm gonna chop off the end around here, just a touch on the end. You can tell this when you put the slicer, because the slicer, you can see how much you're going to chop off. So you chop it off. This is what it looks like. So if you pay attention, I haven't cut all the way the curb. You just cut off the end. You might like to take away some of these end bits. So I like to sometimes just pull it out like that. Some people also like to draw a little bit, so you might lick it. Okay, so the draw is good. You're pulling air just to see if it's too hard or too easy. This is good. The draw is good. And then you begin lighting your smoke. In order for you to light your smoke, what you gotta do, then I'm going to use one of my simple ones just to show that it is doable. You don't want to shove it in there like that. You want an angle, and you want to do what's called roasting your cigar. So you gotta warm it up until it goes black at the center. This is at least how I do it, but there's many other ways. This is also why I said it should not be windy. If you got wind and everything, it's going to affect it. So, circular motions, whether you spin the cigar or with this, and basically you just warm it up like that. I'll try to do it like this. You can go a little bit more far away. Then put it this way. So basically you're roasting. You don't go crazy, a little bit like that. Smoke is already coming out. And you're aiming more towards the outside, the outer ring. If you pay attention, I'm trying to do the outer. I'm trying to also point it towards the camera. You see how I'm making the line around? Some people like to blow on it. That also will light it up. So you blow it like that, and once you warm it up, the center part might be more dark, and that's where you can actually puff and draw. So what you can do is like that. Now look at it. So this, I don't know if it can be seen, but this is a properly lit up cigar. It's all around kind of even. The center part is even. When you draw, it's all even. And then the other important thing that not many people have mentioned, because I was watching some videos, it's nice. Okay. The other thing that people have not mentioned when you're smoking a cigar is the way that the cigar needs to be smoked is even. Everything is even. If you draw on it too quickly and too often, so now I've taken a draw. Every 40 seconds, every 1 minute, take a draw. You don't have to go crazy. It's not you trying to get the smoke in your lungs. It's not you trying to get like quickly rush it. That's why I say you gotta take your time. You draw every 40 seconds. It's not going to go out. It keeps its light as long as every 40 seconds, let's say, in general I'm talking about, and on an average, you give it a puff. And the reason why you're doing this is because you want it to gradually and evenly burn. There's different tastes on the outside leaf, there's different tastes on the wrapping leaves, and there's different tastes on the filling leaves. So if you're going to smoke it and you get this type of like a corner like that, so let's say the smoke is coming out like this, it means you're pulling too much and you're smoking the outside of it and you're not smoking the inside of it. So you're going to get different taste and it's going to burn uneven. So the whole point is just slowly. So we've lit it up. You can keep the air in your mouth a little bit if you like, or that's it. You do get a nice taste. And obviously, like I said, this is a simple cigar. There's not a lot of flavor. It's not like a Juliet and Romeo. It's not like some other hectic Cuban cigars. I had some. I had the biggest, the most expensive one that I had, I think it was along the $16 range. I can't remember the brand. It was a very nice cigar, and obviously I could tell the difference. Okay, but this is good enough. This is a proper, nice tasting, beautiful cigar. And the way that the cigar is smoked is, like I said, evenly. You gotta leave some time for it to go properly, and as you're dragging, the temperature of the cigar is going to change. Changing the temperature of the cigar means if the cigar has been warmed up, that the chemicals and the flavors within are going to go out as well. So it doesn't mean that as soon as you started, you get the full flavors. No, that's not it. You will get a flavor, but once you start smoking it, this will change and you might get different hints of flavors in the cigar. These flavors can be from like flowery flavors, they can be from like berries, cacao, coffee, whatever. Some are sweet, some are more bitter, like you might get wood tastes, different ones. I'm not such an expert that straight away as soon as this like, wow, yeah, this reminds me of the rainforest in Bolivia. Like, no. To me, a cigar is like a cigar, but there are other people that have smoked it. And to tell you the truth, when I did smoke the 16 euro one, I did feel different things. I cannot explain because, like I said, I'm not an expert to have done so many, but I did feel the different taste, a much more nicer taste. And that was also on the mild side. This is like a medium, it's not that heavy. You might blow it outside of your nose. That also puts a lot of the flavor in your cigar. It has burned a little bit uneven. I don't know if you can see it. On this side it's a little bit more, but it's quite good. Okay, so the way that I like to hold my cigars are like this. Some people say that the way you hold your cigar says something about your character. I don't know if it's true. This is just the way I hold it, and sometimes you might see me hold it like that. Not like this, like that. So this is how I hold the cigar. I'll be watching the movie like this, or I might be holding it like that. There's other people that hold it like that, with 4 fingers. There's other people that I've seen that they hold it like this. There's other people that hold it like this, and when they puff, they go like that. It depends on the style, depends on everything. You might feel some tobacco coming out from the backhand side. That's because of the cut that we've done. And this is also why I don't like the 2 V's. When you do the 2 V's, you create 4 edges, and when you're puffing it, that sometimes lets out a lot of, and I don't enjoy that. So this is smoking the cigar, where you can rest it down on your ashtray. So you have your ashtray as such, and you don't hit the cigar. The point of the cigar is not to let out the ash. The ash can build up quite a bit. Once it gets to a stage about there, let's say, so it's quite like that, then what you do is you just touch it on the ashtray, and that's going to leave it down. You don't smash the cigar, you don't wiggle it around like you do in the smoke, you don't do none of these things. Okay, you leave it. If you don't want to do any more of the cigar, I do want to do a little bit more of the cigar. But you can tell that the smoke is much more heavy. I mean, I'm a smoker, I just had a smoke before, and this already I can tell that it's affecting me. I'm not dragging it down, but the taste buds behind here, you can tell that the nicotine is much more of a stronger hit. So it's a nice taste, like I said, it's nice. It's a different thing. Okay, so now I don't want to have any more of the smoke. What do? Or let's say you've gone all the way to here. Usually on this plastic thing, you don't take it out. I don't like to take it out, but if you want, you can take it out. Once you start getting towards, and this moves, by the way, so I don't know if you can be seen, but it moves. It's not like too tight. I like to leave it just to hold it. It's nicer to hold it like that for me. Some people take it off straight away. When you get to the stage where it's up to here, obviously you take it off and you can smoke like that. The draw tool that I told you that I haven't bought, that I want to buy, I haven't bought it yet because I found the normal draw tools, but some draw tools were on the back hand side. They have two little like pins, and what you use them for is you stick them on your cigar and you can smoke your cigar all the way much more further than you will have if you were holding it. So as I mentioned, I've left my cigar at the end. I'm not going to smoke it anymore. You can see that there's still smoking coming out. I'm just going to leave it there. It's going to slowly go out. It's not going to burn by itself. The ash will stay at that point, and then when I'm ready to have it again, usually what I do is I will tap the ash out, I will take the cutting tool, I'll put the cigar through, and I will cut just a little bit where I had, just to take away the black and the ash, let's say. Then I will roast it again, light it up, and smoke it. Sometimes it's because if you cut it, you get uneven, or sometimes you might get some cracklings on the thing. But unfortunately, let me have a last one. It's beautiful. Nice taste. Simple, no crazy stuff. And another thing that I noticed, let me just put it down. Another thing that I noticed with the cigars is, on the good quality one that I did, is the way that as the cigar as I was smoking the cigar, the flavor changed as well, which was weird. It was like towards the middle was like different new aroma came out. But like again, I'm not an expert like to say that this reminds me of like, you know, like wood and nothing like that. But I could tell that there was a difference. There was a difference in the gradualization of the cigar. So I hope I didn't forget anything. I think I showed quite a bit enough of what to do, what not to do with cigars, why to smoke a cigar, how to smoke a cigar. You can enjoy it with friends. It is something to dedicate a little bit of time for yourself, let's say. And yeah, I recommend it to all, and you don't have to go crazy. Like I said, all the things that you've bought, like that you've seen my accessory that I've bought, I will give an estimation, they're around €70. That's it. The humidifier was 28. The cutting tool, the lighters, the actual smokes, we're talking about €3-4 for the reposados, which I really those ones I really like. Those ones, if you tell me just do those for the rest of your life, I'm going to do them. But I have bought some different brands. I can't remember, Villinger is one. I've got a couple of other brands just to check them out. They're all in the same price range, around €4, let's say, just in case I find something different, you know what I mean? And if I find a good variation of it, then fair enough. So like I said, because I'm not like a professional cigar smoker, then I don't see the point of me having many different brands. Like usually when I find the reposados are ones that I have found, reposados robusto, they're very nice, and these are the ones that I smoke. If I was a guy that had like crazy money, then I will say, okay, let me get like a morning smoke and a night smoke and a short one and a fat one, and the ring sizes were like how wide they are. Anyway, I think that's enough of information, and I'd like to thank everybody. I hope you have a good day, a good night, and we'll talk soon. Bye bye.